Hey everyone, I know it's been a little while since I've done a video. So I'm out in the garage because I was doing a quiet time that actually reminded me of my axe. So there was one time when I was high school age, I went out camping with a buddy of mine, and it was a great camping trip. So we went and we went to, I think it was his grandpa's cabin. Might have been an uncle. Anyway, one of his family's cabins. And we were out there. They had a wood stove to heat the place. No other heat. And it was not well insulated, and it was cold out. So during the day, it wasn't too bad. But we knew that the night was going to be pretty freaking cold. So first order of business, after we threw all of our gear inside, was to go and figure out what we're going to cut up and put in the log stove so we had some heat. We found this oak tree. It was dead, it was laying down, and it was big. We thought, we cut that up a little bit, this axe, and we're going to heat all night. It'd be perfect. So the axe, when we picked it up, it wasn't the sharpest, but it wasn't terribly dull. It was kind of medium. And, we started hacking away at it. A couple of hours later, we had, several pieces of oak ready to go, and that axe was dull. I'm pretty sure I could have fallen on it and would not have cut myself, so I didn't want to try it. It was just freaking dull because oak is such a strong tree, and it's such strong wood. So how does that relate? Well, let me read this passage here. It's Isaiah 61. We're going to read verses 1 through 3. It says, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release from darkness the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor." You see, we are going to be... Well, first of all, it's talking about Jesus. He came to preach good news to the poor, bind up brokenhearted, all of that. But if you really think about it, we will be called oaks of righteousness, and we will be a planting for the Lord, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. We are. Like you and me. And I was thinking about it, and to be honest, today's been a struggle for me. I've had a bit of a rough time today. I just was struggling with some things and had a bad attitude, and finally, at the end of the day, just in the back of my mind, I felt the Spirit saying, "Matt, you got to get in the Word. Just get in the Word." And this is what I read, and it's in spite of the attitude that I have, in spite of my sin, in spite of myself, Jesus saves me from all that. God has grace on me because of what Jesus did on the cross. And because of that, I'm not looked at as some worthless sinner like I should be looked at. Instead, I'm going to be called an oak of righteousness and planted for the display of God's splendor. Think about that. That's some awesome stuff.